a lot of us are always living other people's dreams. Like, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Like, why are you getting up every day doing anything that you're doing? Sometimes it's about more than manifesting. You got to do the work. We are back.
Yet again.
Welcome to another episode of the Keep It Uplifting Podcast, where we discuss lifestyle, fitness, and motivation. I'm your host, Uplifted, and I have with me the man, the myth, the legend, who's now in front of the camera, also the host of the Prodigal Brothers, Al Parker. Talk to him.
What is this, velvet?
Come on now, stop.
Hey, man, we looking nice here, man. But thank y'all for coming back and looking at us in these nice, fancy chairs.
Yeah, man. Please like, subscribe, follow, review, do all the things that will further us. If you're receiving a good message from us, share it with a friend as well. We really appreciate all the listens, downloads are going up, and we just keep going, man.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all, man. Keeping on listening, man. We're going to keep it interesting for you.
So earlier today, story time a little bit. I was going to the orthodontist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in traffic. I'm running late. So, of course, I got to turn on a podcast. I got to listen to something.
Right.
So, I wanted to see what other motivational podcasts were doing. So, I looked up top 10 motivational podcasts. And
Were we in it?
we're not there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are climbing the charts, man. But I want to compete. I also want to see what people are doing. Maybe there's something we could add here, or maybe there's a step we're missing. So anyway, I stumbled on a Dave Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ramsey got a crazy show. I just think he's on there talking finance. And what I'm starting to see is that every podcast talks about everything, They talk about sports. They talk about business, what's going on in the world, politics, all of these things. And they try to, they figure out a way to work it in, or they just built up enough credit that they can speak to anything that they want to.
Yeah,
So anyway,
geared to their niche. Yeah.
Dude calls in, and young man, 24, he's engineering, making under $80,000 a year or $90,000 a year, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
He says that he's having trouble with work. He's, on social media, everything tells you to quit your job nowadays, right?
True.
So he's saying that he likes his job. He doesn't want to quit his job, but it's not exactly what he thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So they ask him, well, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, get, move up and be promoted and be higher in the company and, make an impact there. And they say, well, what do you want to do? And he said, that. And they said, well, tell me, what do you want to do? He says, well, I'm really doubtful here. They're like, no, what do you want to do? He's like, well, I want to move up in the company. And they're like, yeah, but you want to do stuff more than work, because he's confined at work. He's not able to be outside, so he doesn't really like the job because the job is limiting him to sitting in front of a screen forever. And he's wondering, can I do this for the next 40 years? So he is forecasting a little bit, but he doesn't know what he's doing it for.
Mm.
And I found that to be so funny, because you're making all this money, you're 24, you're in a good position, and you have options.
Yeah.
If I had those options at 24, right? You seem like he's fresh out of college.
Get your whole life ahead of you. What I just told you earlier. He was like, yo, you were a different dude back then. I'm like, no, I had my whole life ahead of me. Like,
but he's unhappy with his atmosphere at work. And the craziest thing is that they asked him what he wanted to do,
and he don't know.
and he has no clue.
I think it's a lot of people like that that's in like that tech field, because I think people jump into that space just simply for the money.
Well, he likes computer programming.
Oh, so he does. Okay.
Right. So they said, well, what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
And he just couldn't tell him what he wanted to do. He's, and what I got from that is that a lot of us are always living other people's dreams. like, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Like, why are you getting up every day doing anything that you're doing? I read a bunch of books all the time, and sometimes I don't get through them because I'm like, this book isn't serving me. I'm not getting the information that I thought I was going to get from this. Move on, right? I don't hold on to things the way I used to. And that's because as I've gotten older, I know that I don't have to read every book in full to get the gist of every book as well.
Right.
I don't have to do the things that I used to do because those weren't even my beliefs. Yeah. That's what we were taught in school.
Yeah, well, that's what was given to us through our parents or through our family or through our surroundings.
Right. Or just social norms.
Yeah.
Right. So I ask you, what are you doing this for?
What am I doing what for? Podcasting?
Podcasting.
I'm building. I feel like I'm building a legacy.
Yeah.
Right. And we're building a catalog.
Right.
Right. And that's for basically the gist of it is I feel like I'm cementing a place here in the world.
Okay.
Right. We're using this. What is it? The social media, internet. What do you call that? I don't know.
Yeah,
the multiverse.
That works.
You feel me? Like we're building our space inside of this firmament because basically because it's something we can't see, we can't really touch or feel.
Right.
But we have a space in it now.
Yeah.
Right. And we're building a business.
Right. Right.
And it's a legacy and something that I can leave to my son.
Right.
That can be handed down from generation to generation.
There we go.
They may be keeping it uplifting in 2080.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Well, 3010.
Yeah. They need to be keeping it up, listen for the rest of
I'm just saying. Like
the rest of existence.
There's companies that's been around for hundreds hundreds of years here. Yeah. You understand? Like a lot of these are, all the car brands are 100-year brands. So like I feel like that's what I'm doing here, man, because we talked about our fear on the last pod. We talked about our fear before, yo. Like I don't want to be a regular guy.
Okay.
I want when I my physical body leaves this earth, I want to still be here.
Right.
I want people to say, "Hey, remember when he did that? Remember he said this?"
Legacy. Right. Because when you're dead, you're dead. You're gone. You know? And what people don't really think about, and I wanted to ask you that just so you could kind of give an answer for people to maybe get the ball rolling themselves. But what I took from that is you want to leave a legacy for your family.
Yeah.
And people don't think about where they're going to be the next day often, right? They just think that they're supposed to do this, their parents did this, or they homegirl did this, or somebody they saw did this. And if they wait around and do things long enough, they'll get successful somehow in whatever space.
Yeah.
And that was scary for me to hear that young man saying that he is great in a great position and has no idea where he's going. I also know he's young, right? And we were young before, but stop thinking about what you're doing today or doing tomorrow. And when you start thinking about what you're doing in 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, you start to realize what you're doing things for. We always talk about purpose, and I always say if you don't have no purpose, you're worthless, right? But you truly, truly have to be a visionary for your life.
Yeah, you do.
Right? And you can only achieve that if you know what you're doing things for.
Mm-hmm.
And that also allows you to weather the storm, right?
Yeah.
Because what did I say? Push forward or what did I say? I can't remember.
You gotta keeping your stride?
Keeping your stride,
keeping
right?
your stride.
That allows you to keep your stride, right? Because there are going to be things that come into play where you really want to quit, or you want to change your mind, or you want to stop and just say, all right, I'm not good enough, or I'm done.
Or you let an obstacle make you fall off the
right.
path. Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, you have to know what you're doing it for, because that allows you to keep stride. And I'm on this, obviously I'm reading this book by Curtis Jackson, but he was talking about how, we think that Puff has won all the time. But we know that Puff has not won all the time. When the last time somebody wore Sean John? Right?
90s? I don't
Right?
know.
But, I
High
mean,
Yeah.
think about when Biggie died.
Uh-huh.
Right? Everybody was saying that Puff did it, and people still say Puff did it. But how big of a blow was that to the Bad Boy?
Nigga, that was huge. That was Bad Boy.
Right? And we heard it when we read about, we
he was
watched that in the documentary.
He was the only person in Bad Boy that lasted more than a year.
But
more than one album.
But Biggie was
Bad
Boy.
Was the Bad Boy. Yeah.
Exactly. Right? That was a loss there. He still kept going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Puff made those people walk to get cheesecake for making the band.
We will never forget that.
Because when he was working for RCA, he was running up and down the block to get coffee for people not even really making any money.
Not making nothing. He was an intern.
With his tie swinging around his dress shirt.
Bro, they said he would come in the office dripping in sweat. They was like, yo, how you get this coffee so fast? He said, I ran. What else you got for me?
But seriously, man, like, just to think of the pitfalls that he's gone through, the losses that he's taken, and for him to still be here trying to start a whole nother Love company, Love Records or something like that. Like, he's been able to overcome so many obstacles because he knows what he's in it for, what he's doing it for. And he's able to keep stride, right? Like, you're going to always take hits, right? They talk about boxers who walk their man down, right? They walking him down. He taking punches, he taking hooks,
all that.
But he walking him into a corner.
Yeah,
and that's
how we. You don't even see that.
And that's how we have to do everything that we encounter in our lives. We got to walk that shit down until we put it in the corner and beat it to oblivion. But the way to do that is to know what your purpose is, where you're headed, have a vision for your life. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because I just think that if you don't know where you're going to be in a few days, let alone a few years, you're treading on thin ice. Anything could take you away from where you're going.
What I always say, and this is not something I say, but it's something that I repeat to myself. Like, sometimes I pray about it. And like, sometimes I get up in the morning and I know I got to get something accomplished. I'm like, yo, make all your moves intentional. You know? Like, I feel like that's my habit, because we all struggle with this, man. We're not sitting here preaching and acting like we perfect. Because I, myself, have the biggest issue with keeping my stride going. I'll be the first to say one of my opportunities is I'm inconsistent. Yeah. Right? So keep my stride going. Sometimes I really have to think for myself is move purposely, move diligently, and make everything intentional. Right. You understand? Because that's how you get off your stride too, is by doing something involuntarily. And it's like, hold up, I'm not supposed to be doing this. All my moves supposed to be intentional, so I'm supposed to do it like this. If I, you know what I mean? Like, I always take it back to my business, and that's, bartending and serving. Is like, people think we're just walking around doing. My grandmother used to say, you don't got to tip them much. They just walk back and forth, right? But that's what I mean when I say make every move intentional. Exactly. When I leave the table or my guests, I got to go and get something. I mean, maybe several things. I got to make sure I go back here, I grab this, that, and this. And on my way back, I do this, that, and this. Right. Then when I come back to the table, I have this, and that. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I mean by my whole motion of people. You as a guest think I just walked to the back and I came back. Right. And I got my ketchup. Right? Right. But I gave you ketchup. I gave him water. I gave him a drink. I grabbed napkins. I made bread. I put, you know what I mean? Right. I done did 15 things. Right. All you seen was ketchup. Yeah. You understand? But I made every move intentional, and that's how I'm able to multitask. Because every move I made purposely. I didn't make a left step, a right step, or I didn't go talk to this person. I didn't go do anything that wasn't for the goal.
And you didn't do anything that didn't stop your momentum.
That didn't stop the momentum.
And that's why we talk about keeping stride. you could encounter a lot of things along the way, but there's always a plan. There should be some type of plan in place. You can't get anywhere without a map for your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what you're doing it for and make sure that you're maintaining stride. Keep going.
Keep grinding.
Keep it uplifting.
Amen. Make sure to like, comment, share, and most importantly, keep it uplifting.
Take it up, listen.